Dear students, about distributed systems, about the distributed file systems. In the last class, we discussed about the communication and synchronization. Okay, and today we are going to discuss about the consistency and replication fault tolerance. Okay, so consistency and replication. As you know, what is meant by consistency? Okay, how the packets are sending from source to destination. So the process of transformation is going smoothly, is known as the consistency. Okay, so without the breaking anywhere, consistently the traffic is passing from the source to destination. Okay, and about the replication, the important issue in distributed systems is replication of data. Okay, replication, it is avoidance of the redundancy. Okay, so data are generally replicated to enhance reliability, to improve performance. Okay, so this is the major problems in keeping replicas consistent. Informally, this means that when one copy is updated, we need to ensure that the other copies are updated as well. Otherwise, the replicas will no longer be the same. So the main question is here, why replicas is helpful and how it relates to scalability and what are the consistency actually means. Okay, so first of all, we start with concentrating on managing replicas, which takes into account not only the placement of replica services, but also how content is distributed to these servers. Okay, so here the important issue in distributed systems is data are generally replicated to enhance reliability or improve performance. One of the major problems is keeping replicas consistent. Okay, there are two reasons for replicas that are primary reasons for replicating data, including reliability of performance. First one is data are replicated to increase the reliability of a system. Then second point is replication for performance. Okay, the first one is data are replicated to increase the reliability of a system. That is, a file system has been replicated. It may be possible to continue working after one replica crashes by simply switching to one of the other replicas. So here also, the maintaining multiple copies, it becomes possible to provide better protection against corrupted data. Okay, for example, consider, imagine there are 3 copies of the file and every read and write operation is performed on each copy. We can safeguard ourselves against a single failing write operation by considering the value that is returned by at least 2 copies as being the correct one. Okay, and replication by for performance, scaling in numbers. And replication for performance is important when the distributed systems need to be scaled in numbers and geographical area. Scaling in numbers occurs, for example, when an increasing number of processes needs to access data that are managed by a single server. So in that case, performance can be improved by replicating the server and subsequently dividing the work. Okay. There are the weak points of the replication. So the weak points are, if replication helps to improve reliability and performance, who could be against it? That is what. Unfortunately, there is a price to be paid when data are replicated. The problems with replications are having multiple copies may lead to consistency problems. Okay, and having multiple copies of this replication leads to consistency problems. Whenever a copy is modified, that copy becomes different from the rest. Is it not? Consequently, modifications have to be carried out on all copies to ensure consistency. So exactly when and how those modifications need to be carried out determines the price of replication and a cost of increased bandwidth for maintaining the replication. Okay, for example, you can consider to understand the problem if no special measures are taken, fetching a page from a remote web server may sometimes even take seconds to complete. To improve performance, web browsers often locally store a copy of previously fetched web page, that previously web page. If a user requires that page again, the browser automatically returns the local copy. And the access time is perceived by the user is excellent. So the problem is that if the page has been modified in the meantime, modifications will not have been propagated to cached copies, making these copies out of date. One solution to the problem of returning a stale copy of the user is to forbid the browser to keep local copies in the first place, effectively letting the server be fully in charge of replication. Replication as a scaling technique. Scalability issues generally appear in the form of performance problems that are placing copies of data close to the processes. Using them can improve performance through reduction of access time and thus solve scalability problems. A possible trade-off that needs to be made is that keeping copies up to date may require more network bandwidth. Consider a process P that accesses a local replica for number of times, that is n times per second, whereas the replica itself is updated for m times per second. So here assume that an update completely refreshes the previous versions of the local replica. That is n is less than or equal to m. That is the access to update ratio is very low. We have the situation where many updated versions of the local replica will never be accessed by P, rendering the network communication for those versions useless. Okay. Replication and caching are widely used in scaling technique, but keeping replicas up to date needs network use. So update needs to be automatic. What are the transactions to be automatic? Replicas need to be synchronized, that is time consuming, lose consistency. So it leads to lose consistency leads to, in this case, the copies are not always the same everywhere. So consistency models, data centric consistency model, continuous consistency, consistency ordering or operations, client centric consistency models, eventual consistency, monotonic reads and monotonic writes, and read your writes, writes follow reads. Okay. By observing this diagram, we can see how the consistency models are processing. Here we can see the processes, process 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, and here it is storing the information that is replicating is like a local copy. Okay, local copy. How the data is transferred to the server. Okay, so when it is transferring for 3 times, it is storing the number of times is storing. So the general organization of a logical data store, that is physically disturbed and replicated across multiple processes, across multiple process A, process B, process C, multiple processes. And replication techniques. The replication is to keep several copies of replicas of the same resources at various different servers. A client can contact any of these variable servers, preferably the closest for the same document. This helps in reducing server load, access latency, and network congestion. Some of the important factors for replication are to maintain consistency among the replicas, to find the best replica server for each client, and also keep it transparent to the users. There are a number of techniques for file replication that are used to maintain data consistency. And replication services maintain all the copies or replicas having the same versions of replica updates. This is known as maintaining consistency or synchronization. Replication techniques to provide consistency can be divided into two main classes that are optimistic and pessimistic. Optimistic schemes assume faults are rare and implement recovery schemes to deal with consistency, whereas pessimistic schemes assume faults are more common and attempt to ensure consistency of even access, every access. Schemes that allow access when all copies are not available use voting protocols to decide if enough copies are available to proceed. Optimistic replication assumes that concurrent updates or conflicts are rare. Okay, that updates or conflicts are rare. This approach is used for mobile computing. Optimistic replication can be used for mobile computing, and pessimistic application is used for DFS. This is a more conservative type scheme using prime site techniques. And as the approach assumes that failure is more common in guards against all concurrent updates. An update cannot be written if a lock cannot be obtained or if a majority of other sites cannot be queried. So in doing so, you sacrifice data availability. The pessimistic model is a bad choice where frequent disconnections, network partitions are common occurrences. It is used for more traditional data flow systems. And replica management. The replica management problem itself should be split into two subsystems that are place replica servers and placing content. Place replica servers and placing content. Placing a server placement is concerned with finding the best locations and to place a server that can host a data store. And content placement deals with finding the best servers for placing content. We can see here the replica server placement where the content is too small or too big or too large or for certain replication methods. Replica server placement is often more of a management and commercial issue than an optimizational problem. Here you can see the replication is taking place for a small one or for a large one for just few copies. This is nothing but the choosing a proper cell size for server placement. Here also we can see the server initialized replication, client initialized replication. Server initialized replications and client initialized replications for distributed protocols. Okay, here you can see the permanent replicas and server initiated replicas and client initiated replicas and the clients, how the clients are communicating with the servers, so that how the replicas are going to take place. Content replication and placement. Content replication and placement is explaining about permanent replica. Okay, so permanent replicas can be considered as the initial set of replicas that constitute a distributed data store. In many cases, the number of permanent replicas is very small. Okay, the first kind of distribution is one in which the files that constitute a site are replicated across a limited number of servers at a single location. The second form of distributed websites is what is called mirroring. So in this mirroring, a website is copied to a limited number of servers called mirror sites, which are geographically spread across the internet. In most cases, clients simply choose one of the various mirror sites from a list offered to them. Mirrored websites have in common with cluster-based websites that there are only a few number of replicas which are more or less statically configured. Server initiated replicas. Okay, a web server placed in New York, for example, normally this server can handle incoming requests quite easily, but it may happen that over a couple of days a sudden burst of requests come in from an unexpected location far from the server. So in that case, it may be worthwhile to install a number of temporary replicas in regions where requests are coming from. To provide optical facilities, such hosting services can dynamically replicate files to servers where those files are needed to enhance performance. Okay, so here the algorithm for dynamic replication takes two issues. That is, the first issue is replication can be taken place to reduce the load on a server, and the second issue is specific files on a server can be migrated or replicated to servers placed in the proximity of clients that issue many requests for those files. Okay, here this diagram is explaining about the counting access request from different clients. Okay, you can see how the server without copy of a file and server with copy of a file. Okay, a file is coming to a server. Okay, so the server will reach the copy of the file. Okay, and otherwise what happens? The server, the client is sending a file to the server, so it will reach the file format. Okay, server Q counts access from C1 and server C2 as if they would come from P. Okay, and client initiated replicas. Here you can see the number of n important kind of replicas is the one initiated by a client. Client initiated replicas are more commonly known as client caches. So here in client caches, cache is a local storage facility that is used by a client to temporarily store a copy of the data it has just requested. Where the cache memory is from client side, whatever the files are coming from the client will be stored in client caches, so that until unless the system will shut down, the client cache will be activated. It will be stored. So when it is switched off, the client caches will be the information can be deleted. The data stored from where the data had been fetched has nothing to do with keeping cache data consistent. So however, we shall see there are many occasions which the client can rely on participation from the data store to inform it when cache data has become state. Client caches are used only to improve access times to data. Because it is client caches, the access time is very fast, so that it improves the access time to the data. Pull versus push protocols. Pull versus push protocol. Sometimes we pull the access of the client, and sometimes we have to push the clients of the replication. So another design issue is whether updates are pulled or pushed. In a push-based approach and as server-based protocols, updates are propagated to other replicas without those replicas even asking for the updates. Push-based approaches are often used between permanent and server-initiated replicas, but can also be used to push updates to client caches. Server-based protocols are applied when replicas generally need to maintain a relatively high degree of consistency. In other words, replicas need to be kept identical. So, consequently, the read to update ratio at each replica is relatively high. Here you can see the push-based, pull-based. State at server list of clients, replicas and caches in push-based. In pull based, it is nothing. And the messages sent from the client to push based is update and possibly that fetching to the client. And here pull based it is poll and update. And the clients are sending the issues response time at client from for push based it is immediate or fetch update time, and pull based it is fetch update time. Here you can see remote writing protocol. Okay. This diagram is explaining about the client's read and write options. Okay. Here you can see the W1, W2, W3, W4, W5. That is read options. Okay. Write options, that is W1 is write request, W2 is forward request to primary, W2 is forward request to the primary, W3 is tell backups to update, W3 is it is going to tell backups to update, and write 4 option, that is acknowledge update, write W4 is acknowledge the update, returning the responding, and write option 5 is acknowledge write completed. This W5 is acknowledge write is completed. Reading is read request and response to read. Read request from client and read response to client. Okay. And here it is local write protocols. Local write protocols. Writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and reading response and reading request and response. The same way just now we have seen write request and move item X to new primary, and write option 3 is acknowledge write completed, and write 4 is tell backup to update, write 5 is acknowledge update. Okay, and here the read is about reading request and reading response, backup server, data store, how the clients are communicating about reading and writing. Okay, here it is the about fault tolerance. As you know, overcoming the problem in the sequence of the packets, attribute value description. So request new, a new transaction is always started at each invocation, and it is required a new transaction is started if not already done so, and supported join a transaction only if caller is already part of one, and not supported never join a transaction. Disabled is never join a transaction even if told to do so. Declarative security. Declarative security is about authentication, that so when it is none, no authentication is required. When it is about connect, authenticate client when first connected to server, and when it is about call in the security, authenticate client at each invocation, and when it is about sending the packet, authenticate all data packets, and it is about packet integrity, authenticate data packets and do integrity checks. Okay, and about packet privacy, authenticate integrity check and decrypt that data packets. Okay, and this is about the security, that about discrete private and DC authenticate based on shared keys. DC public, it is DC authentication based on public keys. Windows NT security and Kerberos, it is Kerberos authentication. Okay, this is about the replication and consistency. So you go through these topics. If you find any to understand more, you can communicate so that we can discuss further. Thank you.